Welcome, 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 guys. What's going on? It's Sincere here with Anon Radio Live and the All Rights Matter show. Tonight we actually have a very, very good guest. I know this is a last-minute interview here, but there's been a lot going on out in Oregon. We want to update a few of these topics here before we bring Brandon Curtis on tomorrow night. And we actually want to speak with someone that's been working close with the Liberty Movement and other organizations, and just a lot of people that have the same kind of common goal and purpose in mind. And her name is Shannon. And Shannon, are you on the line with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, Sherrod. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Our producer here, our wonderful, lovely producer, Margaret, for Anon Radio Live, she's like, hey, you know what? And, you have really been sharing a lot of information out there regarding everything going on in Oregon, and especially the fallout that's been happening lately. And with the fallout, we see, the federal government is sending out a lot of their goons, if you will, to go arrest people in their hometowns, that aren't even in the state anymore, and all kinds of things. So we see this is possibly one of the biggest fallouts that we've seen in a situation like this. And
absolutely,
you have been following it and getting some great information out there. So we want to talk about that a little bit today.
Okay. First off, I'm a little bit nervous because I feel very responsible for every word that I say regarding these people that have been wrongfully incarcerated, wrongfully taken from their families. I don't want to do any disjustice whatsoever. Lord knows we have had enough of that. But I'm just going to share some things that I have found out. I have been trying to stay up to date with everything that's been going on. Back in 2014, I was invited to the Bundy Ranch. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to fly 3 hours before my flight was about to take off to go there. I had come down with a couple of ear infections, but I regret it. I wish that I could have been there to experience what these folks did, to see people loving and willing to protect liberty at any cost would have been something really amazing to witness. And instead, I'm witnessing it all online. But anyhow, I'm going to get to the specifics here. The grand jury did return a superseding criminal indictment, and now the charges are, we're up to 19 defendants. 14 new defendants were named: Melvin D. Bundy out of Nevada, David H. Bundy out of Delta, Utah, Brian D. Cavalier, Bunkerville, Nevada, Blaine Cooper, of course, a brand new one, Gerald, a.k.a. Jerry A. DeLumas, out of New Hampshire, Eric J. Parker, out of Idaho, Scott Drexler, Idaho, Stephen Stewart, Idaho, Todd Engel, Idaho. We have Gregory Burleson, out of Arizona, Joseph O'Shaughnessy. That one really upsets me. We spoke every so often in messaging, and I had noticed this morning, late morning, that he was not active on Facebook. He was not responding to any messages, so I did have a bad feeling about that. As you know, he was already arrested once before. So let's see, who else? We have Micah L. McGuire and Jason D. Woods, both out of Chandler, Arizona. We also have Richard R. Loveling out of Westville, Oklahoma. I believe that covers just about all of the new ones there. These charges, there's conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. There's conspiracy to impede or injure, keyword or, injure. So it just shows the rushing to judgment here, the rushing to get these charges filed. As you know, the judge already, stated to these prosecutors, you need to get the rest of these indictments going. She was dead serious about it. We have at least one count of using and carrying a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. We have assault on a federal officer. We have obstruction of due administration of justice, interference with interstate commerce by extortion. All of these key words, are words that we use to describe the federal government's tactics. So this is just mind-blowing. We also have interstate travel in aid of distortion, 5 counts of criminal forfeiture. If these people are convicted, they're looking at a possible 96 years total in federal prison. They're also looking at a forfeiture of property, derived from, the proceeds. That totals at least $3 million. We know the governor of Oregon over there has asked to be reimbursed $2 million and counting for the Oregon standoff. Today also Loretta Lynch went to Oregon and spoke.
I wonder if they'll give $2 million to the Finicum family.
Correct. They
might want to start there with their $2 million.
Right, and that wouldn't even put a dent in what that family is going through and will continue to go through for the rest of their lives.
You're absolutely right about that too.
Right. So yeah, my friendship was accepted by Jeanette Finicum. Speaking of the Finicum family, that happened just a couple of hours ago. It made me cry. She has shared one of my posts that is now, we're talking almost at 500 shares here. She is, I don't know if anybody, a lot of people weren't aware that there's a lot of rallies being, that are going to happen on March 5th here. This is a Citizens for Constitutional Freedom support rally event. Jeanette is personally attending, these rallies after these arrests.
For the people that don't know who Jeanette Finicum is, let them know who Jeanette Finicum is.
Jeanette Finicum is the now, the wife of our now deceased near martyr, Lavoy Finicum, who was murdered by federal officers and the Oregon State Police. That happened during the Oregon standoff. They were on their way to try and, spread some knowledge, some information, let other counties know that, you have support. We will help you. A lot of these people are just scared to death to come out and speak about this.
And
she's
going to be at the rallies. That's what she's going to be trying to help to do, I guess, is to carry on actually the torch of, her now deceased husband and help people at these rallies and say, hey, let's break out of this mold of fear because Lavoy didn't live in fear. So, I can't imagine him having a partner in life that would live in fear as well. So that's the way that she's expressing her grieving and also her support for the cause of what, Lavoy dedicated his life for.
Correct. She's speaking personally about this rally here. This was just a couple of hours ago that she made a statement. She's asking everyone to still stand at these rallies. She will be at the rally in Salt Lake City, Utah, at the State Capitol building, 1 p.m. Her direct quote is, "People, do not let the government scare you into not attending and exercising your right to peacefully assemble. If they succeed in this, what will be next? I think back to the last words of my husband that he said to me, 'Take courage, Jeanette. Have faith. God is in charge.' And in all capital letters, she put, 'People, take courage.'" So it gives me chills just reading this.
Absolutely.
I I've been speechless now for months, about what has been, actually years, for what has been happening with this federal government. It is not my federal government. This is not America's federal government.
No, it's not.
I don't know who they are, but they don't belong here, and they certainly don't represent the American people's voice.
No,
They
no.
just don't.
They absolutely don't. You know, I 100% agree with you on that. I was speaking to a gentleman the other day, Jerry. I'm not sure if he wants me to say his last name, so I'll just say
Right.
Jerry. But
Right.
and he was we were talking about a little bit about that, and you know, a lot of people are trying to well, not trying to. They're being saturated and brainwashed by all of this political stuff that's on TV to keep their
Oh, yeah.
minds off of the real issues that are at hand. The
Right.
fact that we
Right.
are losing our constitutional rights, the fact that people are being killed for speaking about the Constitution and for promoting it to other people. That's the biggest key right there. It's not even necessarily that you believe in the Constitution, it's that
Right.
you would even be willing to promote the concepts and ideas to other people. So
Right.
they want
And that's the
to.
thing people are forgetting here. It's not really a matter of losing your rights. We have our rights. They are God given. No one can take them
That's
from us.
right.
It is a matter of exercising those rights.
And
Like
it's
any
also.
muscle in your body, anything that's mechanical, it needs maintenance, it needs to grow, and you do that by exercising it.
And
You
what do you
know?
think about this? I concur with what you just said, but not just that, but also exercising your rights and knowing the difference between rights and laws.
Correct. Correct.
You know, and
Yes.
that's something where you actually have a little bit of knowledge and research through your years, as you know stated, just seeing everything and just being flabbergasted by everything you've been seeing for years. What have you learned about, you know, the difference between rights and laws? If you can explain that to our listeners out there.
Okay, like these rights are not man-made. These are given to us by our creator. These laws are man-made, okay?
Hmm.
They're not, there's a big difference between rights and privileges also. You know,
Hmm.
people get that messed up too. I mean, it is
All
an
the time.
endless explanation here and an endless amount of differences.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
I
if I could interject at that point right there and just say, you're absolutely right, and on top of it, I believe the lawlessness that we see with the government is just indicative of them trying to do what I call turn their little G into a big G, and
right.
they want that godlike power. They want people to fear them and view them as the God of all things, as the end of all things, as the end of the topic, the end of the conversation, the
Correct.
first and the last. And that is the most perverted view of power that man can take. And so when we see them trying to intermingle their laws and the philosophies of their laws as if they are literally God-given rights, and to
Right.
to skew that and to place that agenda on the American people, we know and we can say definitively we are under attack.
Correct. This is war. They've
Yeah.
made it very clear. They continue to make it
Yeah,
clear.
this is, I mean, this is literally, we are under attack at this point. See, the thing about the Nazis is, and and why Hitler was able to do what he was able to do is because people didn't know soon enough that he was doing what he was doing. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It happened
Right.
over the course of years. And we are
Yes.
in that same window now. This is happening over the course of years, and we see it getting worse. If we can't understand from what we just saw today, just
Right.
more overreaching by the federal government, more people getting their doors kicked in, dragged out of their homes, and just brought up on these crazy charges from incidents that may have happened a couple of years ago, or just so they can tie it in with another case to try to make a point.
Right.
But
Right.
in the best way that I can put it, we're under attack.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we have been for, I'm going to estimate 150 years here. It is just taken on from one generation to the next to the next. And if people forget or don't even know what's happening, it dies. Like we die, our liberty dies. It is dying,
I believe it even goes further back with that, especially when you talk about these royal bloodlines and the deals that are cut and the corporation of America. And, it's this power and this lust for power and this thirst for control and dominance. This is an age-old war,
Right.
and this is something that it's scary for a culture because if you look at it from the top down, it used to be that the common man on the ground, you and I, just a regular guy, regular woman, we're regular people. We're not really worried about a hierarchy of having power and control over one another.
Absolutely not.
But yet now we see that the way that the elite think and the way they live their lives is starting to translate into people that we know.
Sure.
Everything is a power struggle to them, and it's.
That's with people, online as well. I mean, I've been so disgusted, with people trying to give others different venues, for what's pertaining to our patriots that have been wrongfully arrested here. There's people saying, I mean, some really screwed up things. They're referring to Ferguson, Baltimore. That is not the path that you need to be going. But
right.
On the other end of it, I feel a responsibility to accept these people and their views because I'm more concerned about being one voice, unity. I have to be willing to accept other people's opinions more than I have in the past, because it's getting to the point where we need everyone to stand together. I was watching earlier I'm sorry?
What have you been hearing online as far as, actually I was listening to what you were saying and I got a little bit lost there. What have you been hearing, like the rhetoric online regarding this, and what have you experienced? Just if you can just give us a general idea of what you mean.
There was a gentleman who posted a comment underneath my update for these new indictments.
Okay.
And he was, saying, well, they didn't do this to anybody, in Ferguson or Baltimore, or referring to Black Lives Matter,
Was he talking about when he said they didn't do this, did he mean they didn't arrest anybody afterwards, or?
Right. And he keeps referring to, they were robbing and looting and, and whatever. Whatever the case may be, the point is, people need to come together.
That's right.
Instead of trying to correct one another,
That's right.
Instead of trying to one-up one another, instead of trying to compete with one another, saying this situation is worse than that situation, so on and so forth. That is the wrong path to follow.
That's right. That's right. And sis, just as a quick fact check point, that is actually incorrect what that person stated there. You can go back and let them know that. If you follow D-Ray and Netta, and I follow both of them on Twitter, during all the situations that were going on through Ferguson and Baltimore, yes, after those protests were over, people were arrested and detained, and that's the funny thing, is the national news media never talked about it. But within the circles of the Black Lives Matters, different groups and organizations that are on the ground, it was discussed. There were, justice for, I can't remember anybody's name right now, but for certain people that were detained after the protest had already happened.
Sure.
And some of those people being reporters.
Absolutely. You have Pete Santilli here. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that should have been enough for a lot of people to wake up, and I believe that people are waking up, but we need more people. We need more voices. We need more hands to hold
Yeah.
our own, you know?
I think we need
I
more people to understand the concept that you were stating actually a second ago, as far as the unity. And I've been running into a lot of people lately that are starting to truly get it. They truly get it.
Good.
And like you said, these situations have been opening your eyes, that you've been looking at it from a point that you've been able to see it more clear than you would have in the past. And you're
Absolutely.
starting to see that this is broad based across the board. And
Hmm.
I spoke on this before. It was the interview actually with Pete Santilli and Brandon Curtis and Deb and Staff Sergeant Mo, where
Hmm.
they have literally turned this into an us versus them system.
Right.
So when they look at us as the general public now, it's
Yeah.
really, when they point at us, they say, "Look at them."
Hmm.
They don't
Hmm.
consider themselves a part of us any longer. The-
Right.
and that's when you have that kind of level of divide, where
Yes.
your elected representatives don't even consider themselves to be a part of the groups of people which they represent.
Hmm.
That's not really a democracy at all, nor a republic. And
Right.
we start to fall into very big problems. That's where you get the us versus them mentality, and that's where you get rampant corruption.
Right. We have been brought up. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that all of us have been brought up, and put in front of division from day one.
Absolutely.
From day one, we are taught differences.
Yes.
You know, it is extremely hard, and that is where my empathy sits in with people that, try to compare situations like this to one another. You know, I have empathy for these people because
Yeah.
it's not clicking 100% with them yet.
Not yet.
I
I
not
used to,
yet.
it was about the middle of last year. I used to talk about on my YouTube channel, and this is when I was actually a pretty heavy Black Lives Matter supporter. Now I have
Mhm.
my own venue, All Rights Matter. People don't understand that, and I enjoy explaining to them the evolution from that process.
Right,
And
right,
it's because I realized when I was in Black Lives Matter, and I still support it, but I realized that it was just one side,
right.
and being one sided,
It's not enough.
it's not enough right now. And it's not
Hmm.
enough because our enemy is a common enemy.
Right.
And if you have a common enemy with somebody that you're not an enemy with, then
Yeah.
maybe you should join with them and understand what their grievances are as they understand what your grievances are. And
Exactly.
putting that power together for the same cause is what
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And
And,
so,
and unfortunately, the platforms that we are provided with, Facebook, Twitter,
mhm,
this new MeWe, there's another new social media site coming out. These are not good enough platforms.
mhm,
There needs to be a lot of organization put together, and unfortunately, we as one do not have, pardon my language, we don't have our shit together yet. We just don't.
no, we don't have
So
enough
this is a
people.
continuing process here, and I truly feel that it's going to take, the next generation, you know, to really fill the gaps in for us,
I don't think we have enough people that understand infrastructure. But what the
Hmm.
beauty is, though, is though we don't have enough people today, like you're saying, it's probably going to be the next generation. I believe that we are starting to fill those holes in now. We're starting
Absolutely.
to find all of those available people that know every facet of life within the prepper community. Within the Patriot community, we have people that understand every asset of protection and defense.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
we need to get more of people that understand media relations,
Right.
information technology, more
Right.
medical personnel,
Yep.
and more
We
teachers.
need a Congress. We need our counties, our people that live in counties on this land to come together and start filling these vacant public offices. You
Yeah,
know,
there are a lot of vacant public offices that no one is filling for no reason.
what?
People aren't even aldermans in their own communities anymore.
I know. And the struggle is, who do you want to serve, the people or this federal government? And that is a struggle in itself because I'm gonna skip around here a little bit. I'm going to go to some constitutional talk here.
Let's do it.
A lot of people are are taught that there's only one constitution. The actual constitution, it always was, it still is. It is called the Constitution for the United States of America, not of the United States of America. There's a huge difference there. People are not, extremely keen on the Constitution like they think they are. They need to go back. There was a missing amendment. There were things that were never ratified. We have not had a sitting Congress, a legitimate Congress, in over 100 years. This is a serious problem. People are reading a federal constitution, and they're also forgetting about their state's constitution. These sovereign states. People are throwing the words, sovereign citizen around left and right. It is not a matter of being a sovereign citizen. If you live in a state that is a sovereign state, then yeah, you better consider yourself a sovereign citizen of that state. It's not that you're, living off grid or refusing to obey laws or, all of these dramatic things. You're not a lunatic, for crying out loud. You're a living person living on the land of your county in your sovereign state. That makes you a sovereign citizen, period.
That's
People
right.
need to go back and reread the correct constitution here.
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of how could you say, and this is what I was actually referring to earlier, as far as how long this corruption has really been going on, because this can even go back to England and in deals that we've cut. So
Absolutely.
there's
You
a
nailed it right there.
there's a reason why we have this corporate infrastructure in America, and there's a place where a lot of our tax dollars go and where a lot of our bankers report to. So, at the end of the day, it really makes you consider, the whole notion of how this country is run, why it's run like this, and
Right.
whether there should be a complete revolution from the bottom up, not from the top up. That's what the government wants you to look at. Oh,
Right.
look at these presidential candidates. Look at these people that are up here. You have to
God.
please pick one of these people that we're choosing for you to pick anyway. But please pick one of these people that we've already elected for you, instead
Right.
of you coming together on the bottom and saying, wait a second, throw all these people out of here. Get them out of here. We don't need any of these people. They're all corrupt. They're all padding their pockets. None of them are seeking for justice more than they are for their own moderate, comfortable positions. All
Correct.
of them want, just to be comfortable and to keep passing on the corruption to the next levels. And
Yes.
our children and grandchildren are the ones that are affected the most.
Absolutely. And their children, our grandchildren are going to be hurting here. You have people chattering about these elections, and you have Trump who was on television tonight nationally. Did he mention a single word about land grabs, the BLM? No. And you have people within our movements, having 100% faith in one man or woman, that they're going to be the Superman of the day and care about you. They are working towards the federal government positions, which in my eyes are not legal. That is not my government. No way. And that is why I've been trying to, as gently as I can, push this common law on folks. It's not that we have to physically remove these people from office. We just need to take office ourselves, run shit ourselves, and it will get so big, like a snowball, that these people will be burning their bar association cards. These people will be leaving on their own and asking us if they can join us. We are the people. We are at the top here. Everything trickles down from us, not the other way around,
And
like you were saying.
that's exactly what people need to hear, exactly what they need to understand. And that there is no other message that's more important in the times that we're in now. Because as I was talking to this gentleman, Jerry, the other day, and we were talking about the militias and the different, just having an all-around network of people that are able to rebuild things. A lot of interesting things came up. Okay, and this whole federal government thing, we have people out here that are constitutional judges.
Right.
And that's what people need to realize. Like, now, I'll be honest with you, up until, probably a few months ago, I never had heard of a constitutional judge. And I didn't understand things like common law and stuff like that because you're not taught these things. Now, I am very, because of what I do and what I have to provide for my fan base, I tend to take in a lot of knowledge very fast and in mass amounts. So in learning all of this stuff, I've, gotten a pretty decent level of understanding of it now. And all I can say is that, the biggest thing I can say is this. Not only do we have the power to rebuild,
right,
but the power really lies in, and catch this, ride with this with me. The power really lies where you really have the most power is in withdrawing your power from the government.
Absolutely.
You just don't comply.
Yes, withdraw your consent, period.
Yes. If you withdraw the consent, and if you do that in mass numbers, it's called mass withdrawal. If
That's
you have
right.
a mass withdrawal of your consent,
Yep.
there is no way that they can do anything about it. There is no way that they can deny the will of the people. And that's what this is about.
This would all end overnight.
Yes,
literally.
The government is supposed to adhere to the will of the people. So that was the great conversation I had with Jerry the other night. He was fired up as far as talking about that and also getting actionable. And that's what me and you were talking about here today. And I think that this is what this is all about now, and I think that's where we are. I think if today was indicative of anything, them rounding up more people, they're sending a clear signal to us that we need to get actionable. We need to get focused right now, and we have to stop playing games and little pitter-pat, petty games back and forth with one another, especially like the gentleman that commented on your post. What about Ferguson and Baltimore? We need to stop doing that. And for the people that comment on my post things similar but of the opposite fashion, it has to stop. There has to become a common bond and connection. That's what my platform, All Rights Matter, is about, is to give us that platform and connection to focus on rights.
Right.
Rights.
And I would implore people, if that does happen to them, to try and guide these people in a better way.
Yes.
Try to find some type of common ground. 100% chance you have one. We, like you said, we all have the same enemy here. We are all working towards one goal.
Engage in positive dialect.
Right.
Dialogue,
I'm going to be honest with you. I fail at it every single time. I'm only human. I can only read so much before I explode. And, that gets me in a lot of trouble sometimes. I try to remain professional. I try to remain positive. But after seeing so much of this happen over and over and over, I can't handle it every single day. I
Yeah,
can't do it.
now, there's a lot of people. Actually, I want to focus in on that, and maybe you can give our listeners out there and viewers, for those that are watching on YouTube, um, a little bit of idea of how like you have a family life, you have a lot going on in your own world,
Hmm.
and without you going deep into that, you know, what do you do to kind of get rid of the stress of what we have to go through doing this every day? Because you, like, myself and many others, we're like now a little back office team of
Hmm.
working towards the same cause. We do a lot of research into negative things,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and the positive is not really brought out much because people don't know the information. So uh,
People don't feed off
yeah,
of the news giving you any positivity. People don't feed off of
that's
that.
right.
It doesn't fulfill them.
Yeah.
They're almost wanting to hear more negative things
It's
you
all
know
a part of that daily programming.
right,
And that's why
right.
they call it programming, because you've been
Yeah,
programmed from birth. So,
exactly.
what would you tell people? Like, what do you do to center yourself back out, to get your energies at 0 point so you could be focused and stay focused from day to day? What helps you in that fashion?
I mean, nobody's gonna like to hear this, but I go to bed at night. I sleep. When I am totally stressed out and I feel like I've had enough, I shut my phone off. I turn on the TV, Sherrod. I turn on the television to escape reality. I try to find something that has nothing to do with anything that I'm concerned about, and that's what I'll try to watch. I will force myself to do that. It makes me disgusted. I, and I want to correct you. I don't really have a lot going on, in my personal life right now. I do have a family, that I want to take care of very much, and I try to, give them my attention as much as I can. Um, they've been so understanding with all of these things. I mean, with me breaking out into tears, about all of it at random times throughout the day, throughout the night. I try to focus on their love for me. um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, don't take my advice. I turn on the fucking TV, and that's what I do. And it's sad. It's so sad because I feel like my calling is so much more than that, but I tend to flood my brain with so much of this stuff that it is hard to decipher and organize. That's why it's so important that we need so many more people to help. You know, we need help. And you know, another thing is, this this
I want to
con.
focus in on that 1 second
Go
before
ahead.
you move forward. I wanted to give you a chance to have that moment and let people experience that that very moment right there,
Hmm.
because for from one person to another that does this on a day in day out basis, and this is what I do full time.
Right.
Um, I tell people all the time, I get burnt out, I get tired, and when I get
Hmm.
tired, sometimes it's not good enough to smoke a little bit, to
Right.
relax.
Right.
Sometimes that doesn't
Oh,
even
well, if we're
work.
gonna go that route, yeah, I'll smoke pot
Yeah, no, that's
to
hey,
calm
look, we
down.
all do now. There's like 20 something states where there's some good laws now. So, look,
Oh
hey, I'm just
God.
saying. Look, and I try to tell people it's not even that anymore because that's a lifestyle habit anyway. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's crazy, and I'm so happy that you could come on my show and be honest,
I would.
because
I
it
wouldn't have it any other
and I
way. I
and I
don't know
and
how to lie.
listen,
I can't.
I didn't think that you would lie, and that's why I asked you that question, and
Hmm.
because it's very important for people to understand what real people do, and
Right.
it's a common thing that we're all doing. You're not alone. You know
Hmm.
this. This is the reason why I was kind of actually fishing for an answer very real like that, is because I think there's a lot of people that are going through the same exact thing. They are so frustrated of there being a lack of action or a lack
Right.
of cohesiveness that they are resorting to the very same thing that we're, and I feel hypocritical too because I do it as well. The very
Right.
same thing that we tell people, get your brain out of the TV. Stop, turn off the TV, get out of the TV, get engaged, get involved. But then when we get involved so much that we're flooded to being over our heads, I'm closing down this laptop case. I'm turning off my tablet. I'm turning off my cell phone. I don't care. I don't want to talk to you. I'm going to turn on some tube and I'm going to the gym.
Right. Right.
And that's how it is. And I'm
Yeah.
smoke. So
Right.
at the end,
And I'm definitely one to preach, TV fucks your brain. It's brainwashing, it's propaganda, you
yeah.
know. I mean, but here I am turning it on
So do
just
you?
to calm down.
So let's focus on that one step further. Do you think that now focus on, how the fact that we know all of this information that we know and you've been studying for years and I've been studying for years and doing activist work for years. Living in this lifestyle we live in and knowing all of this information, we know the truth. We
Right.
know the reality. If we don't know not 100% of it, well, we're at least getting an A. We're in the 90s. So we are very well aware of what's going on. Now,
Right.
when we go to this escapist realm, if you will, and turn on the TV and do stuff like that, what do you propose that we do now that we're because that to me, okay, look, now that we're at this level, because like I said, I do it too. Now that we're at this level, what do you think it is that we can do? What would you tell people to be able to do how do we turn it around and say, wait a second, the frustration level is high and we almost, we almost
Yeah.
stepped completely away from it, but we got to come back to the table. How do we get people back to the table?
Right. Well, like 8 years ago, I'm going to say I joined the Liberty Movement. I know it was already well, established and all of that. It was, I felt the same then that I feel now. I'm almost at, I felt in a rush to get information out. I felt overwhelmed in all of the information that I was soaking my brain into. I was in a panic, you know. And a
You
lot
will
of these
literally start to
constitutional
get.
judges here that, I've been ranting about and people are starting to become aware of,
Yeah.
they reference that panic stage,
Yeah, where you start to literally feel the heart palpitations.
Oh yeah, like Sherrod, every day it happens. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack.
I feel exactly the same thing. Now, I know there's some of my smart intellectual types out there that can talk about the energy fields that CERN is putting out, and that's how that's affecting the psyche. But we won't go that deep right now.
Yeah, we'll save it for another show because
we'll
yeah, I
save that
feel
one
that a
for
lot.
another show. So I think there's a lot of people that are resonating on the same energy level, if you feel what I'm saying. And I believe that the manipulation of the mass media is how they are also infiltrating a lot easier.
Sure.
Those
Someone
of us,
mentioned to me earlier today that, Facebook is one of these mechanisms also. They play with your emotions. These posts on your
yeah.
feed are tailored to your emotions.
When I talk about the energy resonating on different levels, that's what this is all about. A lot of this is very real stuff. And when you start to play with analytics behind the scene and some of the tools and psyop things that these guys have at their disposal, you can change, you can literally play with these fields of energy in these large science underground labs that they have. This is what they do. This is what they do. They learn how to manipulate the data to control the humans. The
Yeah,
us
absolutely.
versus them thing. They have all the best scientists, all the best resources. They're at least 30 to 40 years ahead at this point in time, ahead in the military industrial complex. 30
God,
to
the
40
devil.
years ahead of us.
Right. Right.
Okay.
And going back to the elections, like how that's what all these people are for.
Yeah.
Specifically. Like,
Yeah.
how on earth can you think that any of them are going to help you, to help us? They are
None of them.
not.
None of them.
They're not going to do it.
They're not even going to get close to doing it.
Right, not at all. But like I feel like I'm trying to do all of this with, a skeleton staff,
Yeah.
I
We have a
have like
very
I
small group
imagine
of
these
people.
huge piles of work on my desk here, and I want to do it all. I want to help every single person in each and every case. We have literally millions of Americans sitting in private for-profit jails here,
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
They
Actually,
should not be there. There's trillions of dollars of American assets that are sitting in this,
and this is our money.
Yes, it
This is
is all
all.
ours. We are owed. We
Yeah.
are owed trillions of dollars here.
Uh,
Trillions.
It's
So
literally
people
being
can
siphoned
laugh all
off.
they want when they see, a superior court judge, a constitutional judge, a common law judge. They can laugh all they want when one of them slaps a $271 trillion lawsuit against the federal government and all of its entities. They can laugh all they want, but this person is right in doing that.
Yeah.
They're doing that for us, for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Shauna Cox slapping a 666 billion-dollar lawsuit, whatever the amount is. It's very significant, and she's
Yeah.
not a lunatic for it. She has every
No.
right to do that.
Every
And
right
she is
to.
owed money. The Finicum family is owed money. The Bundys are owed money and livestock. They're owed land. I mean, it's endless. The snake is long, and it's going to take a long time to get rid of it.
Absolutely. I fully concur with everything that you're saying, and I think that, again, if the actions of today, are indicative of anything, it's that the federal government is not playing. They are in a ramp up stage on clamping down on us.
Right.
And in these present times that we're in, we are literally we're about 5 feet away from the edge of the cliff. So
Right.
we got a little bit of wiggle room to get out of this. A very little bit of wiggle room, but it's starting to get scary because
Right.
the federal government is advancing now, and it's turning. This is literally it's turned into something. It's turning into an offense.
Right.
It's
Right.
literally turned into an offense, and I don't know when they're going to start calling it, a ground assault. But if they keep killing us at the rate that they're killing us at, and
Oh,
clamping
yeah.
the laws down on the way that they're clamping them down, they might as well call it a ground assault. The only
Absolutely.
reason that this ground assault is not a bloody revolution on their behalf is because they've won the information war.
Right.
The information war has people so paralyzed because they don't know right from wrong, left from right either. It has them stuck. They're
Right.
literally stuck. So what do? They turn on the TV and they say, hey, those people on the All Rights Matter show, they're getting a little too deep right now. I'm going to
Right.
turn this Jimmy Fallon on that just came on, and I'm going to pay attention to that because that's going to provide a couple laughs instead.
Exactly.
And we're guilty of it. So listen, people out there, we understand. We're not judging you, but what we're saying is collectively, we all need to, even do better in doing better.
Right. Right.
This is on all of us. So,
Going back to what I would tell people, how to start fixing this, I think, first off, what we were briefly touching on, you have to declare yourself, one of the free, sovereign, and independent people of the United States, as I referenced yesterday, I think it was on my Facebook, the definitive Treaty of Peace, aka the Treaty of Paris. It's very important that you declare yourself free from this federal, stronghold.
Isn't it funny how we just had the Paris Agreement?
Right. Isn't it strange?
In the Paris
It's
Agreement,
not a coincidence.
the Paris Agreement is exactly to enslave you.
Right.
To enslave the very breath that comes out of you, in and out of your lungs. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. But, you have to make it clear that you are a citizen of your organic state on the land. You do not operate on the sea. You do not live in the sea. You do not operate on admiralty, maritime law, international law. That is the way our federal courts are all in. That's how they're operating. That is not our law.
Yeah. It's come to a point where even our laws have been hijacked.
Everything has been hijacked.
So they hijack the rights and the laws of the land. So it's like, damn, and now you're trying to hijack literally my soul. Like, why do they want so much power?
That's what's so demonic about it. What you just said right there, they literally want your soul.
Yeah, why do they want so much power? It's ridiculous at this point in time. And I don't want to go biblical on people, but, there's going to come a place in time where I'm going to start doing that a lot. So you guys got to watch out for that.
I'll join you.
Okay. So I'll tell you now. I have
plenty of friends who will.
I heard that. That's what I'm talking about. So
earlier today, Sherrod, I want to mention this. I was watching the Egyptian Revolution. It's on Netflix. It's called The Square.
Okay.
These people.
I haven't seen that yet. What,
you have to mark it down. It's called The Square. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's a documentary of the Egyptian Revolution.
Oh, okay. I'm on it.
You have to watch that. It taught me a lot about unity. It taught me a lot of what is possible when you are in unison, when you speak as one, when you hold each other's hands. You can defeat anything, absolutely anything.
Yep.
But it's a very intense documentary. It's pretty graphic as well. I've been watching a lot of those documentaries, actually. I watched the revolution, of Ukraine also. That was called Winter on Fire.
Okay.
That is also on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I heard that was really good.
But after watching those, that is one thing I did to try and escape what, I was in at the moment. I turned on these documentaries and I started watching them, and it really refilled or regained my faith in Americans here, and frankly, in the entire human populace.
But isn't it funny, even in the escape mechanisms that we may use to get out of facing the reality that is just so dire at the pressing moment, that we end up watching things that fulfill our minds intellectually, about the very same things that we're passionate about anyway.
I know it.
So it ends up feeding right back in.
It really is. I feel comfortable describing it as an addiction. You want to escape, but you end up right back to where you were.
That is hilarious.
But I definitely recommend those two documentaries.
And say the titles one more time.
The titles, they are Netflix originals. They are on Netflix. The Ukrainian Revolution is titled Winter on Fire. And the Egyptian Revolution, also on Netflix, is titled The Square.
Very good. Very good information there.
But yeah, we will learn a lot. Like when you decide to do a show on some biblical stuff, I can reference the Egyptian Revolution, once again, because, they dealt with the Muslim Brotherhood. They dealt with, the flat out dictatorship. They had so many sectors, and what
Mm-hmm.
ended up happening is, they all realize that they are just Egyptians. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
we're all Americans here. Let's not say we're Democrats. Let's not say we're Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not look, let's not say, oh, you're black, I'm white. You're a three percenter. You're with PPN. You're an oath keeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just stop and
Yeah.
realize we are Americans living on this land, and we want what is rightfully ours.
That's right.
Period. And we should not stop until it is in our hands.
Right. Keyword rightfully and should not stop. Keyword righteous fight.
Exactly.
You see what
Exactly.
I'm saying? That's the key concept, righteous fight. That's what this is
All
about.
rights matter.
That's right. That's right. And that's what folks, they just don't get it. This is about, they want to strip our rights and they want
Mhm.
to redefine what our rights mean underneath their man made laws. And you
Mhm.
can't do that. These are God given rights, they're
That's right.
unalienable. You can't take them away.
Right. That's right. And
There's,
honestly, like I think you mentioned something earlier and I responded with, yes, this is a spiritual war indeed.
hmm
This is. I mean, you'll see once you watch the square, the revolution in Egypt there. You'll see how spiritual of a war they're fighting, and they're still fighting
Oh yeah, absolutely,
today, you know. Um
absolutely.
but yeah, I can't wait for your biblical show here because I have a lot to say about that.
No,
Um,
I will. I'm definitely going to actually. I'm going to have a few things talking on that because there's my YouTube crowd. They are a very diverse group of people and a lot of very intellectual people, and they want me to talk more about that because I've gone into a few things like that on a couple videos, but out of
mhm,
the over 200 videos I have on YouTube now,
mhm,
there's a large, I have a large Christian following, and uh, it's like it's funny how many Christian people are in anonymous as well.
mhm,
So it's
mhm,
like they're asking me questions about the biblical
mhm,
topics and how they coincide with what's going on right now, and it's not necessarily in an end times fashion, but in a
mhm.
way of saying there's reference points and,
Absolutely,
and they want me
absolutely,
to
there is.
start talking about it more. And I say, you know what? I am going to actually start talking about it more because that's something that the science community is actually conferring about now too. Is
Right.
how much of the things in the Bible actually line up and are actually factual.
Mhm,
And what
mhm,
we're looking at now, and I just I'm not really going to get into my whole spiel on it, but I'll just say this. What we're looking at now is you're absolutely right, is 100% spiritual warfare,
mhm,
and
mhm,
the spiritual warfare that's being waged is even on the smallest of levels. It's down to the
mhm,
binary level, and
mhm.
that's what our oppressor is learning how to manipulate down to the binary level so that they can have total, absolute, and complete control so that
And
they can.
division.
Yes, they can have the control. Their power will never be divided, but your power will always be divided.
Yes, and they
And
will try and make sure of that.
and
Yep.
that is how you permanently stay weaker. When you are going against a force whose power is indivisible,
Mhm, mhm.
you can never win. So
Right.
we have to make sure that we are that force of people whose power is indivisible, and so that we can always win.
Right.
That's
Right.
what this really
Right.
all boils down to: is that unity. That unity is going to give us that righteous awakening that we really need to have. There's a few of us, me, you,
Mhm.
maybe about two other people in the whole world.
That's how it feels.
That's how it feels some days. You feel like you call up like two other friends.
Yes.
You're like,
Let me call my one friend, Margaret.
Yeah, you're like, damn, I can't even call nobody else. They ain't on the same level. So,
I feel so strange. When I go out in public and stuff, I don't leave my house unless I have to. I am a hermit. I do not like to leave my home.
There's nothing wrong
but when
with that.
I do not feel in a right place. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, you're one of those people that just has a sensitive spirit. You literally, you're one of those people that are walking around this earth that feel the spiritual wickedness in the high places. You feel the oppression of it everywhere you walk. And, I'm not going to go deep into this now neither, but I'll just give you an idea of my understanding of that. This electrical field that's around us, all of these waves that are around us. Guys and girls, you can't see these waves that are around you, these telecommunication waves, but just imagine all of the negativity that's floating through the air just through the waves around you. And you're infiltrated with this. We have a blanket of electronic interference that is around us that's been infiltrated, and it's been placed upon us to suffocate us. So there's people that are walking around like you that are sensitive spirit people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you honestly feel that oppression, that invisible oppression just weighing down on you. And it's funny because, I'll make it relatable for some people that may not get it. If you watch a documentary on Netflix or the History Channel, whatever you may watch, and you see something about surveillance cameras, well, the next time you go out and you go to Walmart, you're going to be looking, you're going to be like, look, there goes look, there go one of them surveillance cameras right there that he was talking about. You see what I'm saying? Now, the more knowledge that you gain in doing this, the more and more knowledge that you build up and gain, when you walk out into public, it becomes more than just seeing the corruption at Walmart. It becomes seeing it everywhere, even down to the structure and shapes of buildings. So it's an overlaying negative effect that's placed around all of us, and the enemy has propped up his position throughout our society as saying, I am here, I am everywhere, and I am your God. I am omnipresent like God. When that is the false nature of the enemy, to be a liar. It's deception at its finest. So this,
it's definitely evil.
But it's something that people are feeling, this omnipresence of evil, and it's this overlaying factor, I believe, is playing a big role in the dumbing down of people. And where a lot of us are going to those escapist methods, and we're saying, fuck it, I'm throwing the towel in because I don't even know if I can do this anymore.
And that's what happened to a lot of people in this, in this liberty movement that I got heavily involved in. I don't know where half these people are anymore. I don't know where they are, And one more thing about, feeling empathy and stuff. When I go out, it's like, and during the day, I feel emotions that I believe everyone is feeling at once. I carry that burden, and I feel great sadness sometimes. I feel great panic sometimes. I feel enraged, like I want to explode, like I want to march to the White House myself, like I want to go to the land, the law of the land, the sheriffs that are supposed to protect us. I want to go even farther into, the sea. I want to experience that evil because I feel it. I feel our people's pain every hour of every day. And it is a lot to handle. And I know that there's other people that feel this,
I'm right here with you. Let me know.
Yeah.
Let me let you know firsthand, and I've come out and put out posts about this. I've actually had a very, very positive response to it. I put out a post talking about, after I got out of the military, actually one of the reasons I got out of the military too is because of my depression. and
God.
anxiety. Now, I never had to deal with that until late into my military career, and now up until this point in life. So we're talking about 13, 14, years later now.
Right.
You know, it's something that's very real. It's something that there's so many people out there that are feeling this level of anxiety, this level of depression, and it's not just me, and it's not just you. It's a lot of us that are feeling the same way. Now, the beautiful blessing about that is the more that we talk about it and the more that we put it out there that, hey, look, yeah, we're feeling this way because we're getting our asses handed to us. Because we know what the path of righteousness is. We know what the path of truth is, but we are getting our asses handed to us.
Right.
But the more that we put that out there and we get people to come together on that common ground, guess what happens?
Right.
There's a breakthrough. Eventually there's going to be a crack, and it's going to be like a whiplash. It's going to be and I believe the government knows this. I believe they know if they cause so much accord that eventually in one of those bands of discord, it will snap.
Right.
And when it snaps, it can be the radical change to alter the course that they want to take us on.
Exactly.
So I am hoping and praying for that moment that people will get so damn pissed off, so fed up, that band of discord that's floating around will eventually just break off, and we will be able to break free from this tyranny that's weighing us all down and keeping us all separated right now.
And that's, people, that's where the overwhelming sense of loss, is coming in. People are wanting to do something so badly. Shannon, what do we do? What can we do? I'm offering this common law solution here because it's the only peaceful one that I'm aware of. Every other route has to do with violence. But honestly, I don't think I'm sorry?
There's one more. And that's what I was actually talking to Jerry about the other day. And there's something that we're missing. And this is where I come in with All Rights Matter. And it's not that we're missing All Rights Matter. There's an idea that I have that I want to utilize through All Rights Matter. And it's something that people could look up online if they look up Dr. Claude Anderson. I didn't hear this from him, and he doesn't have this idea that I'm going to give you, but it's the same concept if you look it up. So let me explain to you what it is.
Claude Anderson?
Claude Anderson, C-L-A-U-D in
Got
Anderson. But this is the concept. It's group economics. Group economics is what's going to be the first actionable step of what is going to save us.
Okay.
That is going to be the first step that we take that is a real step that would be a real blow since the civil rights movement. Since that's the last time that our government has felt any kind of real threat from its people, that was the civil rights movement. So group economics, and let me give you an example of what we can do in the power of group economics, coupled with the ideas of what we're talking about right now. Okay. So I'm sure you've heard on my other shows. I know you've listened to a few other shows, or if you haven't, you may be hearing this the first time. For the listeners that are out there, some of you may be hearing it the first time. If you take 1 million pissed off people and you take $1 a day,
right,
for 365 days, right, you're going to get your $365 million. Okay? Yeah. Now, I'll go through the spill real quick for people that haven't heard of it. That $1 million, that $365 billion from 1 million people at $1 a day, that's enough to rebuild the community centers. That's enough to get the lawyers that we want to represent us, the doctors that we want to represent.
We need everybody.
It's enough for us to start rebuilding the infrastructure. We get 10 million people just doing $1 a day for 365 days. That's 3.65 billion.
Right.
Okay, we can start running a city if we wanted to at that point in time.
Absolutely.
A city of thousands of Americans, of people that love liberty, that love freedom, and that cannot stand a tyrannical government.
Right.
Now, if
right.
we had thousands in a city and we started, that kind of very movement through group economics, coupled with all the other ideas that great organizations have, the Oath Keepers and the Three Percenters and other organizations have some great ideas for defense and infrastructure. Just the great organizations that are out there, if they all come together, Black Lives Matter has
just imagine that.
Yes, some great ideas for civil freedoms and liberties, and just imagine the kind of things we can build. So that's why I say group economics is the first step of an actionable idea that we can take together to really put our money where our mouth is and show that solidarity. That's what our enemy is doing. Our enemy is taking it out of our checks every week out of an automatic deduction, and they're not doing it to a tune of $1 a day.
Oh, no.
They're doing it to a tune of 100 a week, 200.
Oh, yeah.
However your check is laid out, they're going to take it according to that.
Right.
And
yeah,
if you
I used to work for a CPA for many years, and the amounts that I saw being taken
for taxes.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm trying to tell people. If you think about what you're paying in taxes, there's well more than 1 million people paying taxes. Let's just say there's a couple 100 million people that are paying taxes. Okay, now that's the first illusion because everybody's paying taxes. But let's just say there's a couple 100 million people that are paying taxes. They're taking out more than $1 a day. Okay, and they're doing that for more than 365 days. That is trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars a year. Now, let's not stop there with the tax system. Then they hit you up with these networks on TV and they say, hey, guess what? Even though we're taking all these trillions of dollars to your taxes, the kids in Africa, they need your money. And we don't have any money out of the trillions that you've already given us. We need you to give us more money. And then we'll take 60% of that money and we'll give it to these kids that need your help.
Right. Oh,
and then
God,
we've been doing that for decades. You have millions of people that are giving $30, $60, $100 a month to these kids that they never meet in a land that they'll never go.
Right.
And who's getting... What is this doing? There's no infrastructure over there.
That's the thing. I don't know if these people donate this money to make themselves feel like they're making a difference in the world.
That's what it's all about.
Or so they can get a tax break on their charitable donations. We're dealing with so many different types of people here with different motives. It's insane.
You're absolutely you hit the nail on the head. I believe it's not even an or situation. I believe it's an and situation.
Right.
We got so much
that
greed.
That brings me to another point here. You have, going back again to these fraudulent elections here for president, you have one in specific, referencing to Wall Street, to the banksters, incessantly, and it's gaining so much steam. Of course, we had so many people talk about that before, but this guy has a lot more support. We're talking Bernie Sanders here. But what is his solution for these people that continue to take our economy down? What is his solution? Well, he's saying we'll give them we'll tax them the highest percentage rate. Meanwhile, you have tiny little Iceland who jailed their banksters.
That's right.
They pressed charges against these guys.
They have to pay, and I am exactly with you on that logic 100%, because I believe that these people have committed so many damn crimes now that it is impossible for us to think that they are capable of maintaining their position with any kind of positive relevance moving forward. So that therefore, if they are a negative influence and are irrelevant, we need them out of there. We need to not only remove them, we need to charge them for their crimes, and we need to
Right.
also provide a little bit of restitution for the people that have been severely harmed. I mean, when you talk about these bankers and how many people have lost their houses, man, that real estate collapse was nothing to play with. You're talking about hundreds of
There was
thousands.
people that committed suicide. There was people that killed their family and then killed themselves. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
when is enough here? You know, to get everybody on one page.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? You know, unfortunately, this isn't all happening at once here. We're getting just little spurts of it here and there, and then we're getting pacifiers stuck in our mouths. I mean, this is enough. I've witnessed enough. I'm 40 years old. I've seen enough in the past 8 years that, I'm to the point where I don't want to live here any longer. You know, people say, get out of our country. When I first, joined the Liberty Movement, and I talked about the Constitution, and now it's happening again when I'm talking about common law. People are telling me, get out of our country if you think it's so bad here, and that's not the case. I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you that it is that bad
Isn't
here.
it funny though? Isn't it funny now? You actually feel like you really do just want to get out of the country.
Yeah, like you have some people referencing, if so and so's elected, I'm taking a hike to Canada, and it's just like, well, I wish you would have a different reason, that you're leaving America.
Yeah, that's real.
Because that's the wrong one.
Yeah, so it had to take all the way up until Trump, because you're supposed to leave well before Trump, because all this crap has been going on.
Right. I mean, you have someone who was president who sold this country out. How long ago, Sherrod? How long ago was that?
Yeah, I mean, it's real.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to help some days, other than just repeat what I'm seeing and what I'm witnessing,
No.
But I'm not going to stop about this common law stuff. And hopefully, if you can help educate me on this group economics, with Claudia Anderson. Hopefully, there's a medium that we can find, and unify the two and really get things done.
Well, there is, and I'm actually working on it, not this weekend, but next weekend coming up, as I'm taking 3 days off, 3 to 4 days actually off, but next Friday through Sunday are definitely planned off, and then maybe Thursday too. Where I'm pretty much shutting down. Nobody will be able to reach me. I'll be putting together allrightsmatter.com. And there I'll be also laying out some of the group economic things that we discussed tonight. I believe that I want to create that website. I actually already own the domain. I've owned the domain for over about 6 months now.
Okay.
And I just haven't built it because I've been building the concept and talking to people and getting the word out there, So I know I've owned it a little under a half a year, and now I believe is the time to really put the platform out there, and to have it built, to put the platform out there so that we can all start meeting together on it. I want to put together something where I can have moderators on the platform, people who think well, such as yourself. And other folks that are out there that are level-headed thinking people that can help to guide this discussion to where it really needs to go. And so we will have a platform like that coming into fruition very shortly. It'll be
well, you make sure to update me, because I'd be more than willing to help anytime that I'm available.
Oh, definitely. And that's going to be the cause of it. In the back office, we want to put the support of every organization that supports. We want to put the logos of, the 3%ers, the Oath Keepers, Black Lives Matters, All Rights Matter,
Right.
Any organization that's out there that's really standing for the people and that doesn't just desire to be tied into the government for government funding,
Right.
because we're not looking for government funding. We reject the idea of government funding. We don't
That's
want
right.
it. We believe in the power of the purchasing power of the people, and we
Hmm.
can decide our own future by the way that we collectively put our money together and decide how to do it. That's how they've
Hmm.
bought all of us out now. And they've made
Right.
us listen to their laws, and people won't speak out because they don't want to lose their job. And,
Hmm.
and it's just
Hmm.
a big society of
That's
silent
a lot of the
fear.
police too, where you just referenced,
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of officers, are with us, but they feel they can't quit their job. They can't risk their livelihood.
Yeah,
I
and
struggle with that big time. I
yeah,
struggle with that. A few years ago, I was into the all cops are bad. I still say it today. I will stand by my statement because, until people are willing to destroy the box that they are put into
yeah,
at all costs, we are going to go nowhere,
that's
you
right.
know.
That's right. I said I'm actually I'm trying to get together a little skit right now.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm putting the funding together for it now. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to get a couple cop uniforms together, and
Awesome. I had the same
it,
vision the other day.
yeah, and I'll put it out there. If anybody steals my idea, I know that you got it from me, and I will haunt you down and play this clip and say, "Look at the date I put this out. Look at the date they did that. They listened to me." So, but this is what I want to do: get two cop uniforms, right? All the good features and stuff like that. I actually do know I have friends that are cops, and I talk about cops all the time, and my friends that are cops don't like that too much, just to be honest with you. But I have to do my job, and they have to do theirs too. You know what I mean? So, but
Absolutely.
I'm sure I can actually get a couple of them to help me because there's a few of them that absolutely agree with me. But
Hmm.
I want to show people, and it'll be a little bit satirical, you know what I mean,
Sure.
but not really. I want
Hmm.
to show people. I want to show a cop pretty much tackling another cop. I mean, when I say tackle him, I mean hitting him with like a football tackle, and then
Sure.
beating him up on the ground and handcuffing him, throwing him in the back of a. I mean, just completely dramatic.
Hmm.
Okay, and then have the title of it, "This is what a good cop looks like."
Hmm. Hmm.
I want that
Hmm.
to weigh into the heads of the cops that are out there on patrol and doing their job, because that's something that they've never seen. It's
Sure.
something that I know none of them will ever do. If you see a
Hmm.
cop doing something, if you're a cop and you see another cop doing something that's wrong,
Hmm.
then the only
Hmm.
way that you get to be called a good cop is if you take down that wrongdoer in
That's right.
regardless of who it is, if
That's
and
right.
what you have to do to take that person into custody. If that person is wrong and you need to take them into custody, you take them into
Hmm.
custody. And because they don't do that,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
hold the same belief. There
And
is
the
no such
people
thing
that
as a good
have
cop.
attempted to have either committed suicide, been killed, have lost their jobs.
Yeah, quote unquote suicide.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. But as long as
hmm
the fear is there, I mean, people have to realize that that in itself is a lie.
hmm
Fear is a liar. We have
absolutely.
to have a little bit more courage here, just like, Jeanette Finicum was talking about, as far as people attending the rallies this Saturday, take courage. You
Yeah,
have to have courage, endless amounts of it. And you have to be confident, especially with these sheriffs. Poor Sheriff Glenn Palmer, he's being investigated now. You know, I hope that he feels comfortable enough that we will rally towards him and all other constitutional sheriffs if they choose, to
hmm
make we'll say racy statement, or
hmm
God forbid if they agree with the Bundys. or the Hammonds. I mean, God forbid.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being labeled Christian jihadists. We're being labeled domestic
Oh
terrorists.
yeah.
We're people are claiming that we have ties to ISIS.
Well, the next
You
thing will
know,
be it'll be the far right Republican movement.
right,
Do you
right,
understand what I'm
right.
saying? They have
Exactly.
so many demonizing little boxes and phrases to try
Right.
to because what they'll do is they'll put all of us in this little box,
The
this
division.
little
Yeah.
phrase, and then everybody else outside that box they'll send the attack dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
Mm-hmm.
this group of
Yeah.
people. You don't want to be that group of people, do you? Those group of people are losers here. Just stay over here and be a good capitalist, be a good consumer. Oh, did you see these
That's
new
right.
Jordans that are coming out? How about this new
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln? Don't you like this Lincoln?
Right, 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 exactly.
It's
Um,
ridiculous.
there's a lot of characterization going on here, and a lot of different boxes that they're trying to separate us and put us all in here. It's definitely going back to how you started the show.
Hmm.
You have to destroy this box. Have to destroy these boxes. It is the only way. You can't try to figure out how to get out of the
Yeah.
box. You have to destroy the
You
box.
know what? There's a there's a good oh man, I should find this and put it out so my viewers can hear it. There's a guy, his name is Jim Rohn, and I have his CD. He's a part of a business that I'm in. Go to my website, secretnewworld.com, if you want to learn more about that business I'm in. But Jim Rohn, he talks about one of the things. It's a sales based idea. um,
Hmm.
People get themselves as they're talking to all of these prospects and stuff, and you know you get somebody to link arms with you and join in the business venture with you, and then they do nothing, and then people
Hmm.
start wondering, well, why isn't this person doing anything, and why this
Hmm.
and why that, and he says it quite clearly, and I love the way he says it. He says, I wouldn't sign up for that class.
Right.
And it's a very true thing is you can't just go out here trying to figure out the why to everything. Sometimes you just can't
Hmm.
sign up for that class. You just got
Right.
to know the righteous answer and get with people that have righteous information and go with
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
about unity at this point, and sometimes we just can't get into the whys of everything. You just can't sign up for that class.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
agree.
So,
Um, Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to start wrapping it up here on my end. So I really enjoyed this time, Sharad. I
absolutely.
was extremely, extremely nervous about doing this. Like I had told you prior to
Yeah, yeah, it's
coming
okay.
on here, it's been a really long time since I've done anything like this. And I
Yeah.
was definitely afraid of screwing, any information up that came out of my mouth. But
No,
you do a great job. I really
oh,
appreciate
wow.
you. I am so glad to have you standing next to me and so many others,
Yeah.
that are in this fight for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I really hope that our youth, my son has been sitting here listening the entire time.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
he's me in male form.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel very comfortable with our next, generation. I know that, he has done many, many things for the liberty movement.
How
You
old
know,
is
it,
he?
he is 20 right now.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. And tell him that the All Rights
He's
Matter
a
show.
young man, but I still think of him as my child.
Tell him that the All Rights
Um,
Matter show and Anon Radio Live appreciate everything that his generation is doing to further
mhm,
this battle that we have on our hands, because it's important that he's 20 years old. He could be off right now on Facebook, looking at what's trending amongst his
mhm,
generation of people right now. But instead,
mhm.
he's sitting in a conversation where we're both talking like we're 20 years out of our league. So
Exactly.
imagine his brain if we're talking in a conversation that may be out of the people in our generation, that a lot of people don't want to talk about this. And for him to be listening,
Mhm.
my hat's off to him. That's a fine young man you have right there.
Definitely. I know that for a fact. I'm so grateful.
That's awesome.
But I want to close with, telling everybody, that I love them so much. All of these people that I truly feel a connection to, I genuinely love you.
Can I also
Um,
interject right there by saying something that's going to be surprising?
sure.
And I also want to include that love for all of the law enforcement that's out there across America that is doing the right thing, doing the right thing. When I say that there is no
Absolutely.
good cops, I know
Hmm.
that there are some people out there that are like Steve Urkel's buddy Carl Winslow,
Hmm. Hmm.
that are good cops like Carl Winslow. That there's a few Carl
Hmm.
Winslows out there. I know that there is, and I know that these good guys, they care about their families, and they care about really keeping out the truly bad
Hmm.
people. And
Hmm.
I don't want people to ever say that he's an instigator of violence and a cop hater. I am not a cop hater, not in any kind of
Hmm.
fashion. What I am is I'm a person that hates corruption. So our love is even extended, to all of those people that in whatever your profession may be, whether
Hmm.
you're a cop, whether you're a government representative or official, if you're trying and striving to do the right thing and you are physically telling people to abide by the Constitution and you are trying in all your power to stand by the Constitution and to ensure that people understand their rights, their
Hmm.
God-given rights, then my
Hmm.
love is always extended to you and our love is always extended to you.
I agree 100%. I don't always convey that. My message has been pretty consistent for quite a few years, as far as, law enforcement goes and federal government goes.
Hmm.
And I have a lot of hatred. I've had a lot of hatred. But I have even more love than hatred
I feel you.
available to give, and I
Jesus, you
want
said
to
that's
give it.
you said that so perfectly. I don't even know what to
Thank
say to
you.
that. And that's the most honest thing that I have ever heard. I have a lot of hatred. I do. But you know what? I have even a lot more love.
Hmm.
That will go down as the best quote of the whole night. And Shannon, with that being said, do you have anything else that you would like to say?
I do. I have a ton, but we'll save it for another time. I'm thankful that you had me on here. I'm thankful that I have a voice, that could be connected to yours and so many others. And I love all of you. And I hope one day that we get it together and we can start correcting all of these errors. And I just beg you to keep up what you're doing. Try to find common ground, even with someone you're feeling a competition with, a
Hmm.
division with. It is so important that we get on the same page as, Christians, Muslims, Jews, all different political aspects, even every single division that this propaganda war has put us in. We need to find some way to come together. The ways are visible, they are there for the taking. We just need to do it.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much, Sherrod, and I really enjoyed being on tonight.
Oh well, no problem. We really appreciate you coming on. You're like a superhero, Shannon Liberty. So it's like I think I'm gonna like seriously send you a cape. You know,
That's okay. I'll go to the dollar store and get myself a blue tarp in memory of Lavoy. I'll make
yeah,
my own.
I heard that. That's what I'm talking about. And
Yep,
I
absolutely.
really appreciate you. Just being so honest with us tonight and really allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the audience and to the topics that we were talking about and discussing because that's what it's going to take is for all of us to be raw, to be vulnerable, and to be
Hmm.
open to discuss these things truthfully,
Hmm.
with how we
Hmm.
feel and to get those ideas out there. But um, we don't have to agree on everything, but we
Right.
have to find that common ground, and that is the beauty of conversation because the more
Hmm.
you talk and the more you communicate, the more you eventually find that common ground. There's
And
even
that's where like you and I were discussing like in the fellow Jerry that we were,
mhm.
talking with. It is so hard for me personally to express things into words in a manner of how I'm wanting to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as far as typing them, you mean?
Right. If we could
Hmm.
just have these little conversations
Yeah.
with everyone, I mean, that would
Could
make
you
a whole
imagine
world of
that?
difference. It would just make so much
And,
difference,
and I
you
think
know.
that's what we really need to start pulling together and really that's what we are going to be putting together and really pulling
Hmm.
off because that's what it's about now. And that's what me and Jerry ended up talking about on the phone for about an hour and a half is making ideas actionable. And
Right.
it's all about action now. And we can't, it's about education. We can keep doing this education part because that's the upkeep and the maintenance of it all, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
now it's about literally we have to get to the action because the frustration is starting to hold us back and we're not even
Right.
educating as much anymore. So
Hmm.
we got to get
Hmm.
back to hardcore education and then we got to get back to at least a moderate successful action over time that we keep doing and we stay at it. Because
Hmm.
if we don't stay resilient with one another, then I say
Hmm.
we have a very short amount of time before
Hmm.
our constitution they're just going to take the last copy of it, put it in a shredder, and it's going to get put in a landfill somewhere.
Well, they can have their own constitution because that's not the one that I'm reading.
I
They're
heard
never getting
that.
ours. They're never getting the
Nah.
true constitution. They're never going to
The,
take God's law away from any
I was
of
just about to say
us.
that they can't take what's in the heart.
That's right.
They
That's
can't
right.
take it. And with that being
That's right.
said, we're going to go ahead and let you go ahead and get some rest for the night. Thank you, superheroes Shannon Liberty, with for coming here on Anon Radio
Sincere,
Live.
I love you, man.
What'd you say?
I love you.
Got love for you too, and you and your son. You guys just have a wonderful night. I'll make sure I get this video up on YouTube so you guys could, share this out. People need to hear this kind of level of conversation, and I appreciate Anon Radio Live for giving the All Rights Matter show the platform to be able to do that. And to
Absolutely.
my co-producer that helps out with the scheduling for these shows and things like that, to Margaret, love you and
Hmm.
I appreciate
I
you.
love her very, very, very much. That is one last thing that I do want to say. This girl, has been, the only one still standing out of the liberty movement that's visible in my eyes.
Yeah, she's like the one person that you would see in the audience that'd be like, the whole crowd is dispersed and she's still at the protest, like,
And she's still
yeah,
there. Where is everybody?
yeah. So we need to,
So yeah, I owe her a lot. So I just want to make, that statement very public that, I love you, Margaret, and thank you for sucking me back into this terrible mess.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you, Shannon. We appreciate you. And until the next time, for everybody that's listening out there, stay alert, stay alive.
Amen.
All right now.